let's turn to the elections for a minute. I mean, obviously the likely outcome is a movement to the left. What do you see as the consequences of that, both short and longer term?
Well, I think in the short run, we can't really escape a significant amount of turbulence, because the sorts of things that Syriza, which is the party of the opposition that's about to almost certainly win power, the things it's been promising and that it's committed to are very much at odds with what the outgoing government has promised to do, and are very unlikely to be accepted, most of them, by our European partners. These things include a write-off of the biggest part of Greece's debt, a significant loosening of fiscal targets, increases in wages and pensions, an end to all privatization, and other things which effectively would end any kind of surveillance of Greece's economy. Now, there could be leeway, perhaps on the fiscal side, and some form of indirect debt relief, but the only way that Syriza could achieve that would be if it really committed to doing the sort of supply-side structural reforms that the Europeans and the IMF are really keen on in the labor market, in the product markets. And of course, Syriza has stated on every opportunity that it has no time for these reforms. It's not interested in doing them. So, in a sense, they're asking for a lot without seeming to be willing to give anything back. And if Mr. Tsipras, the leader of Syriza, suddenly made the U-turn and decided to commit to a great number of these reforms and to back down from pushing the increases in spending that he's been promising, I think it would be very, very hard for him to get that through his own party, and which has a very strong and vocal radical element. So the prospects of a deal between Greece's official creditors, the EU, the IMF, and the ECB, and the Syriza-led government seem quite bleak.
Mm. So what you're describing seems to be something of a zero-sum game within Greek politics, with Syriza and Mr. Tsipras articulating what you describe as a beguiling populist mantra. On the one hand, on the other, the PASOK New Democracy parties engaged in the term, and please forgive my Greek, it's imperfect, diaploki, which you say, diaploki is very difficult to translate, you said, but it's sort of a business-government collusion. So
yeah.
There seems to be a standoff, and on the other hand, one reads of Syriza perhaps being a little bit more conducive to negotiation with business. But from what you're saying, that does not seem to have much traction.
Well, I mean, Syriza has been making a lot of its desire to take on the diaploki. So the diaploki refers basically to very powerful business families that control important sectors of the economy, and the businesses that these families run have a great amount of control over the economy because of their very close connections to the politicians. And they remain very powerful by preventing competition, by getting opposing companies stuck in the course whenever they lose a bid, getting a lot of government contracts, of course. If Syriza were really determined to go after this kind of business-government collusion, which I'm not sure that it is, and I'm not sure even if it was that it has the means to do it, the administrative expertise, but if it were to do it in a serious way, that could be a point of contact with the Europeans, because they would also be very keen to see cartels breaking up and sectors of the economy opening up. But of course, it's not only big businesses that are keeping the economy closed. It's also, for example, public sector unions, which have excessive demands in the context of monopoly-owned businesses, sectors. And there, Syriza has no desire to control the the public sector unions. So, you know, even if they deal with the big businessmen, they're probably not going to deal with another problematic element of the Greek economy that keeps it closed and troubled.